It is day 2 of jury selection at the Karmelo Anthony trial, and I am bringing you guys all of the inside scoop that just happened inside the court, what the jurors are saying, what the prosecution is saying. Now, for the first half of it, the prosecution focused basically on if they had any hangups on covering the trial. But before I go any further, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me clearly. Press 1 if you guys can hear me, and let me know that the sound is coming through. Everything is coming through clearly. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty. So we started out the morning very early. I got here early, and every time you have any dealings with the court, if you've been trying to, establish yourself as media, you talk to the media correspondent over the trial, which is the public information officer, who is Steve Stoller. So he basically emphasizes every single day that we're coming to trial that it's first come, first serve. So what do? Try to get here as early as possible and get in line. So early this morning, I got here around 6 a.m. at like right on the dot, and immediately walked up the court steps, stood in line. Me and my uncle, we got over there, we were standing there. And then there were several people that were in the parking lot. They start filtering in and coming up to the stairs to line up. Now, we have to wait until about 7 a.m. to get into the into the courthouse. And then once we get into the courthouse through the screening, then we go to what is the ceremonial room, which is basically an overflow room where we can hear the proceedings of what's happening with the jurors, etc. So we go, we filter in, I make it in. I'm the first person that makes it in the building. And once we get in there, we all sit and wait on benches. So you have to sit and wait on these benches that is in front of the court so that you're just not standing around for an hour plus until they open the courtroom. They opened the courtroom at about 8:30, and they asked us to start lining up. Once we started to line up, there was a woman who decided to, even though there was us that came before her, stand in the front of the line. And I just rightfully took my rightful position, which was first, and stood first. She made some type of wow statement as if she didn't know that she did not come before me and that it was first come, first serve, as emphasized heavily by the public informations officer. But that's neither here nor there. I'm sure it'll be a story made about it, a flip narrative, but that's what happened in case, people lie. Anyways, moving on, we went into the courtroom at 8:30. We sat down and we waited just a little bit for the monitors to come on. Once the monitors came on and the TVs, the audio, everything came through, the first thing I noticed was Karmelo Anthony had cut his hair. He looked visibly nervous. You can like tell that he was like on edge, like he was just sitting in his chair and he was looking around. You could see that he was taking like heavy, deep breaths, like I can't hear him, but looking at the thing, you can tell like he was nervous. So the setup that we saw on the TV monitor was the prosecution, their table was to the left, the prosecution's table was to the right, the defense was to the left. It was about 4 on each side. And the first thing, like I said, I noticed was Carmelo Anthony. He was shook. You could tell he was shook. Like he didn't know, like, oh my God, like what's going on. He had on a navy blue suit and he had a navy blue tie. And from looking at the screen, I couldn't tell if his shirt was either a light pink or a light lavender, but I could tell it wasn't white. It looked like it was like very light pink or very light lavender. His hair was cut, so he has a very, very, very low cut. I don't know if you call it a fade, if it's not like faded on the sides. I'm not really versed in that, but I just know that it was a very low, maybe number 1. What's the number 1? All the way down? He had like a number 1 or anyways, he had a very low cut all the way around, edged up. And with his hair cut very low, he looks very little, like very, very scrawny and little. He looks like a kid. Like, a lot of the jurors mentioned that he looked like a child as well. And the prosecution wanted to know if, because of his age, would they have a problem with sentencing him? And a lot of jurors said because he looks like a child, they would not feel comfortable sending him away for the rest of his life. There were several people who made those statements. There were several people who made statements based on they don't know if they can send a brother to jail. It was a black man. I'm like, whoa, I mean, they want you to be honest, but good Lord, like, what are you doing? They're gonna kick you off the jury. But anyways, so yeah, so there was like two African American men that I remember basically saying that they wouldn't feel comfortable sending an African American man to jail. And the prosecution was just vetting, like, even if you heard the evidence, even if, this or that, would you be able to decide based on facts? And there was a couple of people who were like, no. And then people who were not even African American, I feel like the majority, I only heard two black voices that I can recall. But a voice is just a voice. It could have been other black people on the jury. By voice, I could tell that it was at least two that I heard speak. Every single juror did not speak. There was 449 people in that room. The prosecution made sure that we basically knew that, listen, it's a lot of y'all in here. Everybody's not going to be able to speak. And one of the first things he said was, I want you guys to speak up. And the people that speak up the most, just being honest, like, y'all probably ain't going to be the ones to make it on the jury, but I want to know how y'all are feeling. So he kind of came off joking. He was very likable. The prosecution I'm talking about, his charisma, like, he had a lot of charisma. He was making a lot of jokes. And it was a stark contrast from the judge. So the judge, when everything first started, I think he asked the jurors, like, if there was anything that they had to say or something along those lines. And one juror stood up. It was I don't know if his race matters, but it was a white guy. He stood up and he said that he forgot that he had a subpoena. And he was like, oh, hey, I forgot that I had a subpoena. And the judge was like, I don't care about your subpoena. Sit down. And I was like, ooh, that was kind of rude. It was really, it was real. He was rude. The judge was rude. And the guy was like, oh, he sat down. So when the prosecutor came up, it was a huge contrast because he came off likable. He talked about, his background. He was making jokes. He was coming off like understanding. And he was the type of person that, if you committed a crime and they get you in that interrogation room, oh, it's okay. Just tell me what happened. He gave off like, oh, tell me how you feel. Like, yeah, we just want to know. But it's like, you telling him exactly how you feel is going to get you kicked off, or it could be the thing that sends you to jail. But he came off like one of those type of people that, he can get people talking and warm up to him. And that's what he was doing. Like, getting a lot of the jurors warmed up and expressing how they truly felt. And I'm going to go over everything that I wrote later on, but just to point out some of what's happened today. Um, let's Let's go. Okay, so the prosecution, I wrote a note and I said, the judge is extremely rude. I said, he's extremely rude. Karmelo is extremely nervous. He's breathing, taking deep breaths, and he's looking around. Then the prosecution came up. His name was Dewey Mitchell. He was at a table where it was four of them, including him. And he said that he was the assistant district attorney. He said he came from a little town in Oklahoma, says he's never been the smartest person in the room, and wants to be clear about what we're doing today. The judge spoke about being fair. He says that, and so basically he referenced a joke, or what the judge tried to make as a joke on Monday. The judge basically said, hey, I think everybody on the road should go 55 miles an hour, and I don't think anybody should go over 55 miles an hour. And he was saying something along those lines. And the start of it, the prosecution was like, he said, well, I just want you guys to know I'm fine with people going 70 miles an hour, So he was kind of referencing something that the judge has said the prior day. And he said that, he feels like that's fine being the speed limit. So he then goes on and he says that his job was to talk about, um, you know, if somebody is accused of a crime, he wants to make sure that they have a fair trial. And he said the probability, he said, we got juror number 2 right here in the front, and then we got juror number 449 all the way in the back. He said the probability of juror 449 making it on the juror, I'm paraphrasing, by the way, because I was taking quick notes. But in so many words, he was basically saying, like, the probability of juror 449 making it on the jury is probably not going to happen, but you still got to pay attention. So he was just letting them know that even though all of you guys are here and there's 449 of them in that room from the 600 that they originally started with, and all of them are not going to make it, but they still have to pay attention. Another thing that he stated was that they are going to have alternates in the jury, and that they will not know who the alternates are. So each juror will act as if they are on the official jury, and they won't know until the end if they are selected to be an actual juror or not. So he then goes on to say, da 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 da. He was asking basically, like, he wants people to answer truthfully. And he started to talk about his kids. So he said that he had 2 kids, and he started talking about a baseball game. And he was using this analogy of a baseball game to say, sometimes he was basically saying, like, we are a community or whatever. And so he said that he asked if there was any baseball parents. He talked about his kids. He said that the team that his kids play for was bad. And he said that if they lose a game, they had to play early the next day. And he said that, they're basically a community. We all come as a community. And he was wondering how age will play into their decision. He wanted to know, how does race play into their decision? And his fear is, he said he feared how he would approach age and race and all of those things. And he was, like, kind of nervous about talking to them about these things. And he said that he wants them to speak up. And he said that if they speak up, they got a better chance of not making it on the jury. And then let's see. He said that, okay, so he said, for a fair trial, you have to presume from the start that the defendant is innocent until they prove their case. He said he has to be the one to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed the crime that they say that they committed, and they have to presume them innocent until they are proven otherwise based on the law and based on the evidence. They also stated that basically, whether or not you committed a crime before, like, let's say you have a history of going around beating people up. And in this particular case, I'm just using my own analogy. This particular case, you go and you beat somebody up. That doesn't determine whether you're guilty or innocent in this case. The only thing that determines whether you're guilty or innocent in this case is if you're actually guilty based on the law and the evidence. So he kept um, referring to the pre-existing history, or like whether they had it or didn't have it, or whether they were innocent and never committed a crime before. That doesn't matter. What matters is the crime that they did commit, and that's what's before them today. So after that, and let me check hold on, I gotta come off camera real quick. I just kind of want to check in with y'all to make sure, do y'all hear me? Y'all hear? Because my uncle ain't saying nothing. He just,
let me send up messages.
okay. Yeah, I don't see the comments. Where'd it go? Okay. All right. And y'all can still hear me clear and everything. The mic is coming through. Okay. Sound is great. Okay. Okay. Sorry, my uncle's he's so into the screen. I'm like, I'm looking for a clue. Like, are they saying anything? Okay. All right. So I just want to make sure. Sorry, y'all. Also, I'm here, boots on the ground, thugging it out for y'all, bringing y'all the facts, what is going on. If you guys want to donate to the channel, I have a Cash App, Neek at Night Media. I'm independent. There's a lot of media out here that's from big corporations. They got the big budgets. I'm on my own dime. So if you guys like my coverage, you like what I'm doing, you like my commentary, and you want to support my travel fund, donate to the Cash App. Okay. Also, if you don't want to donate to the Cash App, but you want to watch and enjoy for free, hit the like button. Oh, wait, what's going on? Oh my God, somebody's yelling and cursing. Oh, somebody calling somebody a bitch and all kind of. Oh, damn. Hold on. Let's find out what's going on. They said fuck you, bitch, and all that. Normally we walk away from the drama, but we're at the courthouse, so okay, what's going on? I don't know what's happening, but it just got real. Yeah, what was that? Oh, damn. They saying fuck you, crackers. Oh, it's a racist white guy. He drove off. I'm gonna ask them what happened. Ooh, child, it's hot. Here come the sheriffs. Can I ask y'all what happened? Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. I just was seeing what the commotion was. Me? I mean, okay. Yeah. All right. All right. We walking back, y'all. I didn't know what was going on. It was a whole lot. The guy, I don't know if y'all could see, but it was a guy in a car. I mean, a truck, and then he had a bullhorn like antagonizing them and stuff, and saying stuff to them, or whatever. It was a white guy. So, um. All right. Let me go back over here. It's probably, what time is it? Because we only had 30 minutes. How long have I been live? Oh, 23 minutes. It's probably, all right. So I have to go, you guys. I'm going to fill you guys in more because it took me about 10 minutes to set up. We only had 30 minutes so that, we only had 30 minutes to cover. And I apologize for anybody who I accidentally showed their face. I didn't know. I was trying to understand. Like, I was like, who are you? Like, what's going on? You know, that type of thing. But I will come back on the next break and update you guys, but I don't want to miss anything. I want to get everything to you guys. And I'm going to, later on, we're going to do a full breakdown of everything. So it's about time to go back in. I don't want to miss anything. That was a lot. That was intense. But like I said, I'm here, boots on the ground. If you guys want to donate to the channel, Neek at Night Media is my Cash App. If you don't have any money and all you got is a share button or anything like that, please help your girl out by spreading the word that I'm here, boots on the ground. We're going to get the story and we're going to cover this the best we can. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.